at that point in time, my wife was pregnant, Linda. She had a job. She was making a pretty good living. I was making a good living. I quit my job, opened my own business. She was pregnant. All these things happened at the time. The recession, I'm not sure, I mean, depending on how old you are, during that time, there's a huge recession. People were out of work, okay? And I said, hey, I don't know what to do with my life. I have this duffel bag full of jewelry, and if I'm gonna stick to this, what do I do? And so we kind of went back and forth and said, I think I should go to GIA, the Gemological Institute of America. And I think I should put myself in a position where I know what I'm talking about so that I feel not only confident with myself to help people, but so that people can feel confident to buy from us, so they could trust us, right? Because I wouldn't feel right to sell or do or open a business and help the community with what we have to offer if I'm just speaking out of my behind. It was one of the hardest things ever, by the way, because by that time, our kid was already about 6 months old, our firstborn, and she was basically at home by herself. And I told her, hey, if we're gonna do this, I need you to be strong for me, like really strong.
For sure, that was probably one of the biggest decisions that we have made as a couple thus far in our relationship. So I wasn't really excited about him leaving for so long while I had a 1.5-year-old, not a 6-month-old that you keep talking about. Like, seriously, I don't know what baby I am having every time I'm listening to this story and I can't say anything. And I'm like, your kid is about to walk, man.
I love it, because when you said 6-month-old earlier, I saw you were like
no! But then I feel like maybe when he was gone, he really just doesn't see our kid as that big, like the baby is still the baby and that's our only kid, so I get it. But he was about 1.5, but regardless, it wasn't easy. God knows I felt like I was tested more than ever, I think, in that year, or maybe I just cried a lot more because he told me, if he were to decide to go to GIA, he will come immediately back if he were to hear me cry on the phone, which I did many times without him knowing.
I looked her in the eyes and I said, if I'm gonna do this, then I need you to make sure that even on the days you feel weak, that you don't ask me to go home, because if you do, then I will go home and I'm gonna call it quits.
It was one of those things where I have to keep it together for the sake of the greater good for our family, right? We had this discussion probably early on in the year, like in January. His class wasn't going to start, I think, until like Labor Day weekend. And he had a deadline of when tuition had to be paid. And I remember no matter how many times I checked in on him, he usually would be very open with me with how he feels. But this time, no matter how many times, he always said, not yet, I haven't paid yet, not yet. But it wasn't until it got really close, because I'm like, wait, if you're not gonna pay, are we really gonna do this? He really said he really wanted to make sure if there was any chance of him not going, that he delayed it until the very last moments where you had to submit payment and register, and then he did. And then it was almost a little heartbreaking. I can't. Because it was hard. Like for me, I have a tendency to do things. If I have a desire to complete or a goal in mind, even if I don't want that journey to take place because I know how hard it is, it doesn't matter. I just have to bite the bullet and just do it. So for him to do something like that, I felt like he went through the same thought process. So in order for him to bite the bullet to do it, his mind must have processed 1,000 different scenarios to not go. And so I knew it's just this mental thing that you kind of have to talk yourself into, because it doesn't matter how you look at it, you're gonna be leaving for all this time And I can't imagine doing that to my own child, let alone he has to do that if he wants to commit. You know, nothing was ever going to sway us from the decision once it's made. He's paid, we're not getting the money back, that's it. So yeah, so you know, that's why the crime cannot happen. It can't.